Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present, finding a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion or a pillow, blanket, towel, something that will allow the back of your neck and your spine all to be nice and long and tall. Opening up your chest and opening up your diaphragm and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is Vata and studying the Ayurvedic dosha, which is Vata. So Ayurveda goes back over 5,000 years and is the sister science to yoga. It focuses on 3 doshas. Those doshas are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata, the focus today, is governed by the elements of air and ether. Fall from October to February is Vata season. A cool, windy day with dry leaves or dry snow blowing about is a perfect example of a Vata day. People have physical and mental and emotional tendencies based on a predetermined dosha. For example, a Vata Pitta. Vatas are thin bone, dry skin, whirlwind mind, kind of whirling all the time for the good, maybe sometimes not for the good. So people also have doshas and predominant doshas. We have all 3 doshas in us, but at varying levels. Mine is pretty even Pitta or Vata Pitta, and then just a teeny bit of Kapha. And there are also stages of life that correspond to doshas. A person who is age 50 and older is in the Vata stage of their life. Sometimes the Vata stage of your life shows up in feeling cold, even if you're in a warm environment, poor circulation, lack of focus, and that is typical for us as we get older. But those are all, based on Vata qualities. So the science of Ayurveda has a key principle, and that is like increases like, and opposites bring balance. So in this time of year, fall, which is a Vata season, and being a Vata person myself, and being in the Vata stage of my life, I need to find balance. So what I do is I look to Vata's elements, which are, as I mentioned, air and ether. And because of that key principle of Ayurveda, I'm going to find balance by opposites. So the opposite elements to air and ether is earth, which is the grounding element versus the windy element of air. Water, which is a hydrating, which is a opposite element of the dryness that a Vata has. And fire, which is warmth versus the coolness of a Vata. So for example, and seasonally, this is something my takeaway from this for myself, seasonally, eating cooked foods over raw, fresh, or dried foods is preferred. That'll balance you. And favoring sweet, sour, and salty is also a balancing thing for in this Vata season. So personally, my go-to breakfast is dry oatmeal with yogurt and sliced fresh raw apples. So I have dryness and I have raw. So that's, things they tell you to stay away from. So what I need to do, which I did this morning, I cooked the oatmeal, and yesterday I made an applesauce. And so that has a lot of the moisture. It's not raw and it's not dry. So the applesauce adds moisture. And then with the applesauce, there's cinnamon in there, which is a warming spice. So just making subtle changes like that can help balance you in this season. Another thing for a Vata person is to establish a stable daily routine, really grounding yourself into a daily routine. For example, slow, gentle yoga, yin and restorative yoga are really great opposites for a Vata, because it's grounding, it's not fast and whirlwind. Think of that fall windy day as being the typical Vata characteristic, that where the wind's blowing and the leaves are blowing and it's all dry. If you can envision that all the time, you want the opposite. So getting into a yin restorative yoga, you're bringing yourself down to the earth. It's slow, it's grounded. Walking, mindful walking. So with the walking, you're mindful, you're actually connecting to the earth, or you're observing where you're walking mindfully. And then meditations, that's a good grounding daily routine. And then in this life stage, the Vata life stage that I'm in, there's suggestions of self-massage with oils. You can do it with body lotion, but body lotion contains water. And personally, body lotions, because of that water, makes my skin chapped. So oils is my go-to. And the self-massaging can be, there's specific oils for self-massage. Sesame is a good one. Almond's a good one for Vatas. Warm baths and moisturizing, which this one I don't do, but I'm interested, I'm intrigued. Moisturizing nasal passages to increase the prana circulation. So there's a specific oil that you would insert into your nose. You can use it alternatively with a neti pot, but it keeps your nostrils moist. Because remember when I said a couple of weeks ago about you breathe through your nose and not through your mouth, and that's because there are certain things going on in your nose to moisturize the air that's going in. That's what you want. So this is something that is suggested to do as we age. It also helps to clear the mind, makes the mind more aware, and supposedly it helps your eyesight. So I'm intrigued. We'll see. So again, Vata, we're in the Vata season. If you're a Vata person and you're in a Vata stage of your life, there are things to think about to balance off and keep yourself in balance. And that's what our goal is, keeping ourselves in balance, healthy wise. So for our pranayama today, there's a perfect breathing technique that's all about balance. It's the Nadi Shodhana, and that is the alternate nostril breathing. And using the mudra Vishnu, which is also a mudra that means balance or supports balance. Both are excellent to bring balance to the body, the mind, and the spirit. So let's just take a few moments, do some Nadi Shodhana. And the mudra, again, Vishnu, is you take your hand, bring down your index and your middle finger, and you're using your thumb and your ring finger. And if that's uncomfortable, you don't have to use that. You can use whatever fingers that feel comfortable for you. But that Vishnu mudra gives you that additional balance. So we've done this quite often before. You take your thumb and you block your right nostril. Inhale through your left. When you reach the top of the inhale, take your ring finger, close down that nostril, and exhale through the right nostril. And then inhale through the right nostril. When you reach the top, you close off the right nostril and exhale through the left. Then inhale through the left. When you reach the top of the inhale, you switch fingers. Ring goes on the left nostril, exhaling through the right. Then inhale through the right. Switch. So each time you reach the inhale, you're going to switch. All righty, and you can return to your natural breath. And we'll take a few moments. I'm going to go to the mat, and we'll just take a few moments for a meditation. And I have an affirmation for you today, or a mantra, if you will. And it is, I embrace this season in my life. I embrace this season in my life. I'll see you on the mat. you can open your eyes if they were closed, and we'll begin our asana practice now. We'll start with some sun breaths, and we'll just bring our fingertips to the sides, the mat. And then we're going to lift our hands up overhead as we give ourselves a nice big inhale. And then on the way down, we're just going to go slowly and exhaling slowly and think about bringing ourselves down to the earth. We just, with our hands, we're bringing them back down to the mat. Bringing that, really focusing on that, bringing yourself down, back down to the earth. So inhale again. And then slowly exhale, just maybe in your mind's eye, or you can look at your fingertips and watch them just returning to the earth, returning to the ground. Inhale again. And then slowly exhaling, bringing yourself down, really connecting with the earth. Think of that saying, whatever goes up. As we inhale, lifting our hands up, must come down. It's the balance. And then one last time, inhale up. And exhale down. When your hands land, just really feel that connection to your mat, to the earth. Alrighty, and we're going to come into cobbler's pose, bringing the soles of our feet together, just really feeling that connection of ourselves with ourselves, that grounding our feet have. And for those of you who perhaps do or don't massage, just take a moment. The feet are a great place. If you're not a massager, feet are a great place to start. Just maybe taking your fingers and running them underneath your toes, each toe, and then the balls of your feet, kind of rubbing the thumbs against the balls of your feet, and then on the interior, and just feeling that actually feels quite nice. So that human touch. I had a woman friend, an older woman friend, older than me, OTM, that used to volunteer at a nursing home. And she would volunteer by giving women manicures. And it wasn't so much, she said to me, it wasn't so much that, she was prettying up the fingers, which may be the end result for the woman or the person she was working with. But what she felt her contribution was having that human touch, that other person receiving her touch. She'd massage the hands and then, hold her hands and paint her fingernails. It's that human touch that the person she was giving the manicure to was receiving. It wasn't so much the paint on the fingernails. And that human touch is so important. Alrighty, and then we're gonna take our legs. I'm gonna cross my right foot in front of my left and just have them side by side, and we'll get comfortable in my seat. And I'm gonna walk my hands forward. And as I go, I'm just gonna exhale slowly, coming down to the ground. And just come down as far as what's comfortable for you. Pay attention to your lower back. And, if you can utilize your breath to kind of get lower, do so. but just come down as far as what's comfortable for you. Bringing your gaze and your torso down toward the earth. And then walking your hands back. Take my right knee and point it up to the sky, placing my right foot on the mat, wrapping left arm around it, bringing right fingertips to the back of my hips and twisting my torso to the right, sending my gaze straight ahead. And then we'll come back to center and we'll switch feet, bringing the left foot in front of the right foot and slowly walk our hands out, bringing our torso down toward the ground. And you might notice a difference on the sides. You may not be able to get further down, or you may be further than you were on the other side. Taking some deep inhales and exhales, really just relaxing into this pose. And then walking your hands back. We'll lift the left leg up, knee points to the sky, wrapping the right arm around that knee, bringing the left fingertips behind the hips, twisting our torso to the left, and sending our gaze straight out. Alrighty, and we'll untwist and we're going to roll down to our backs, and I suggest, because we're going to land in reclined mountain pose. So if you have your legs straight out and then taking your arms straight ahead, or you can rest them on your knees and just slowly roll down, feeling that connection with your mat as your back comes all the way down. In the reclined mountain pose, our toes are pointing up to the sky. And just feeling that connection with your body, where it hits the mat, the heels, the calves, your glutes. Inhaling, tucking your navel to your spine to bring your lower back down toward the mat. The shoulders are relaxed, and your shoulder blades are nice and snug in the mat. Back of your head's resting comfortably on the mat. Gaze is straight up. Really feeling that contact with the earth. Then we'll bring our knees to our chest, interlacing our fingers. We'll give our knees a nice hug to our chest. And then we'll do a few what I call rowboats. We'll place our hands on the tops of our knees and extend our arms fully forward, and then open up the knees to each side, bringing the soles of your feet together. That nice connection again. And then drawing the knees back toward your shoulders, and then closing your knees over your chest. And we'll do that a few more times. So extend your arms out, open the knees to each side, bringing the soles of your feet together. Feel that connection in your feet together. Drawing your knees back toward your shoulders, and then closing your knees over your chest. And one more time, extending the arms forward, dropping the knees to each side, soles of your feet connect, drawing the knees toward your shoulders, and then closing your knees over your chest. And give them a nice hug again. And then we're going to come up to tabletop. So you can roll over to your side and come up to tabletop, or if you like, you can roll up and come to a seated position and just cross over your legs, come to tabletop. Tabletop's another nice grounding pose where your hands are fully connecting to the earth, knees and your legs, tops of your feet connecting. Your gaze is down, so you're looking down toward the earth. And then we'll just do a few side head turns. So we're going to take our gaze and we're going to just bring it to the right ever so slightly, not to look up, but just to look sideways, and then back down again. And then turning our head to the left, sending our gaze to the left, and then back down again. And just keep doing a nice even flow from right to left. You can synchronize it with your breath if you want. Nice and slow, controlled moves will help to ground you. And then bringing your head back to center, we'll start with some cat-cows. So exhaling, rounding your back, drawing your navel to your spine, sending your gaze to your navel. And then sending your head up to stare straight ahead, maybe a little down. So just not wanting to look up, just straight ahead, or maybe just a slight look downward. And then exhaling again, rounding your back, sending your gaze up to your navel. And then inhaling, lifting your head and tailbone up, sending the gaze straight ahead or a little down. And then we'll do a few more of these. Nice deep inhale and exhale. And then back to center. Now we're going to take our elbows, and where our hands are on the mat, we're going to place our elbows right where the hand imprints were. Bringing our forearm down to the mat, our hands, fingers spread across, and then we'll come into extended puppy. So we're going to just walk our legs back, bring our head down to the mat, and send our chest down toward the mat. Probably will not reach the mat, but we're trying to send our chest down toward the mat is the idea. And just, I know this is kind of an awkward pose, I hear that a lot, but just get into a portion of this that feels comfortable for you. And then walk your knees back up. Bring our hands back under our shoulders. We'll send our hips back and sit on our ankles. And then relaxing our shoulders, we're going to bring our hands behind us, interlacing the fingers. And then we'll just bring our fingers down And try to touch the tips of our toes or the bottom of our foot where the ball of our foot is. But just try to connect your hand to your foot in some way. So as you do that, just gentle little movements, you're opening up your chest and opening up your heart more. Just little movements up and down, connecting with the bottoms of your feet. And one last time. And then come back to tabletop. And tuck your toes under. We'll walk our hands back. So we come up into a squat on the balls of our feet and then push down, coming up into mountain pose. I'm going to place my toes so that they're facing that straight line of the mat. I'm going to lift the toes off the mat, stretch them out as far as possible, and then really bring them down, connecting to the mat. Then lift the heels off the mat, and then bring the heels back down. Really feel like grounding that mountain pose provides. If you can envision the mountain, has that wide base that's so strong, and then it sends its energies up to this peak. And it provides that strength, that stability, and even that stillness that we seek from mountain pose. So we'll sweep our hands up overhead with a big inhale. And then exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go to support our lower back. Really feel that connection. And then lifting our hands to our shins, flattening out our back, sending our gaze straight down for half forward fold. And then dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat, down toward the earth, just letting gravity take over you for a moment. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Bringing our palms together. And we'll just come up onto our tippy toes and stretch up toward the sky. And then slowly, that's not slowly, slowly come back down, bringing our hands down by our sides, bringing our heels back down to the mat. And just as we did before with our hands in the sun breaths, we're going to do some sun breaths with our feet. So lifting our hands up as we come up onto our tippy toes. And we'll not stay here long. We'll then slowly come back down, bringing our feet and our hands back down to the earth, and then really connecting with the earth. It's time with our feet. One last time, sweeping our hands up, come up onto your tippy toes, and then slowly coming back down, looking for that connection with the earth. And then we'll send our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, lifting our hands to our shins, flattening our back, half forward fold, and then sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. We're going to place our hands on the floor, fingertips or full hands, and then we're going to bring ourselves into a squat. So lowering your hips down toward the mat, coming up onto the balls of your feet in a squat position, and then we're going to lower our heels back down to the mat and straighten our legs and come back to a forward fold. We'll do this a couple times. So bending our knees, sending our hips down toward the mat, coming up on the balls of our feet. And then sending the heels back down to the mat, straightening our legs, coming back to a forward fold. One last time. Bending our knees, lowering down to a squat, and then bringing our heels back down to the mat, straightening our legs, sending the crown of our head down toward the mat, forward fold, and sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Then we'll bring the right hand down and slide that down toward our knee for supported side stretch. And then come back up and send the left arm down to our thigh, sliding it down, our hand down toward our left knee, and then coming back up. And one last time on the right hand comes down, sliding it down toward our knee, and then coming back up. And the left hand comes down to the left thigh, sliding it down toward our knee, and coming back up. Palms come together, palms come to heart center, palms come to the back of your hips. Feet are about hip width apart, shoulders relaxed, chins tucked toward your chest. And then we'll just slide our shoulders backward, coming into a supported back bend, keeping our chin tucked toward our chest. Keep breathing and listen to your breath. Listen for that nice even flow. And adjust your back bend if needed. And then come back up. Well done. We'll move along. So sweeping our hands up overhead. Inhaling and then exhaling, bringing our hands all the way down to the mat, placing them both on the mat, sending our feet back to downward dog. And we'll walk out our dog here for a moment or two. Our fingers are spread wide apart, gripping the mat. Arms are straight. Chest is reaching toward our thighs. And then we'll bring our left knee up to our left elbow, pushing off with our right foot. And then back again for downward dog. And pedal out. And then lifting the left leg up again, coming to touch the left elbow. And then back again to downward dog and pedal out. And then taking that left foot and bringing it all the way up between the hands. Coming into runner's lunge. The left knee's right over the left ankle. And we're going to bring the right knee down. And the top of the right foot, sorry. And then we're going to walk our hands back, and we're going to keep our chest connected with our thigh as much as possible. Our left foot, the front foot, will be flat on the mat. We're not going to flex it up, flex the toes up to the sky. We're just going to keep it flat on the mat, straightening out the leg, keeping our connection to that leg. And just come down as far as what's comfortable for you. And then walk our hands back up, Coming back to the low lunge position. We'll do that 2 more times. So just keeping the left foot connected to the mat, keeping our chest connected to our left leg. We'll straighten out our left leg as much as possible. And then coming back up. And one last time. Straightening out our leg, riding it down toward the mat. And then coming back up. Then we'll tuck our back toes under, coming back to runner's lunge, and walk our hands along the long side of the mat, coming into a wide-legged stance. We'll walk our hands all the way over to our right toes, and walk them all the way over to the left toes, and then walk them back to center. We'll bend our knees slightly, bring our hands to our hip, and then bring our torso up to an upright position. We're going to take our toes and pointing to the edges of the mat, heels come in at a 45-degree angle. We'll send our arms up at shoulder height, straight across, and then we'll bend our arms into goalposts. And then we'll bend our knees, sending our hips down toward the mat. We'll take a few counts here. This one is to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and then up, straightening out the arms, straightening out the legs. And we'll do that goddess pose again. Goalpost arms, bending our knees, coming down to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back up, straightening out our arms and our legs. And one last time, we're going to bring our arms into the goalposts, bend our knees, come down to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then come back up. And we'll pivot our right foot and our left foot toward the top of the mat, coming into Warrior 2. Really feeling the connection of our feet to the mat. You really push down and push out with your feet. So you're really feeling that energized feeling in your legs, that strength as you push down and push out. We'll take our gaze and send it to our left fingertips. And then bring the left arm down to the left thigh, bringing the right arm all the way overhead and pointing to the top of the mat, and sending our gaze down to our left foot. And then we'll send our hands down to the mat, coming into runner's lunge. Bring the left foot back to join the right foot, coming into plank pose. And then lowering down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping our elbows tucked to our side. And then we'll take our arms and put them alongside of our body, palms facing up, and resting your left cheek or your right cheek on the mat. For a little bit of a rest. In the Vata stage of life, restorative resting is an important part of balance. Then we'll bring our hands underneath our shoulders. Chin comes to the mat. We'll lift our chin and chest up, gently pushing down our hands, keeping our elbows tucked to our side, coming into cobra. And then pushing down, coming up into tabletop. And we're going to do a thread the needle. So we're going to lift our left arm up to shoulder height and then sweep it underneath our torso, sweeping along the mat. Then bringing our head and left shoulder down to the mat. And keeping our right hand on the mat this time. And then gently pushing down into our right hand, come back up to tabletop. Tucking our toes under, we're going to lift our hips and come back to downward dog. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So just pedal out your dog here for a little bit. Walk your dog. That mindful walking, if you have a pet, you can do that in the morning with your walking your pet. And then we'll bring the right knee to the right elbow, pushing off with the left toes. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. And then again, bringing the right knee to the right elbow. And then back again for downward dog. And then the last one, we're going to bring our right foot up between our hands, coming into runner's lunge. So lift the right foot up, bring it between your hands. And then we'll bring our left knee down to the mat. Top of our left foot comes down to the mat. And we're going to do the half monkey, keeping connected to the mat. So our foot's going to stay flat on the mat, and we're going to straighten out our right leg, keeping our chest connected to our right leg, and just straightening it out as far as it goes comfortably. And then bringing ourselves back to the low lunge position. Then again, we'll straighten out that right leg. And then come back. And one last time, just kind of walk slowly back, keeping that right leg connected to my chest. And then coming back to low lunge. We'll tuck our back foot under, coming back to runner's lunge. We'll walk our hands along the long side of the mat, the other direction. I'm going to flip around. So I'm going to walk to the left foot, and then walk my hands over to the right foot. And then walk my hands back to center. Bend knees gently, and then take your hands, placing them on your waist, taking your torso and sending it upward. So you're into a wide-legged stance. Send both toes out to the corners of the mat, tucking the heels in at a 45-degree angle. And then we'll bring our arms up to shoulder height, bending the arms into goal pose, and lowering our hips down as we bend our knees to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and then back up again. Nice breath, and then bend everything, bend arms, bend knees, Coming down, goddess pose to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back up again. Take a deep breath, and then bend everything. Arms, knees, lowering the hips down to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then back up again. Arms come out. Feet pivot to the right, coming into warrior 2. Again, really feel that connection, pushing your feet down into the mat and then maybe pushing them out to each end, really solidifying that connection to the mat, to the earth. Sending your gaze straight ahead to your right fingertips. Then bringing the right arm down to right thigh, sweeping the left hand overhead, bringing it to the top of the mat, sending your gaze down to your right toes. And then bringing your left hand down, coming into runner's lunge, bringing the right foot back, coming into plank pose, and then lowering down to the mat, knees, chest, chin, chaturanga. Sending your arms alongside, palms facing up, the opposite side of your face resting on the mat. Prone Shavasana. And just relax here for a moment. And then bringing your fingertips underneath your shoulders, chins on the mat. Gently lifting the chin and the chest up. Gently pushing down into your fingertips, keeping your elbows tucked to the side, come into cobra. And then come up into tabletop. And we'll send our right arm up to the side at shoulder height, and then sweep it underneath our torso, sweeping it along the mat, then bringing our right shoulder and our right ear down to the mat. And threading the needle, keeping our left hand connected to the mat. And then pushing down with the left hand, coming back up to tabletop. And we're going to come into a seated pose. So you can just kind of drop to the side and come into the seated pose. And then from the seated pose, we're going to extend both legs out in front of us. Come into stacked pose. Toes are pointing up to the sky. And we push, this is what I like to do, is push down with my fists into the mat and then lift my hips up and then come back down again. Really feel that connection comfortably with the mat. So then we're going to bend our knees just enough for us to reach forward and grab our toes. Enough for the toes, right? But we're going to grab our toes. And then, as you can, walk your heels out to a point where it's comfortable. And your knees may stay bent, or they may come down to the mat. We're just going to do a seated forward fold. And any bend in your knees is fine. Just keeping that contact with our toes, hands on the toes. And then releasing our hands from our toes. And we're going to come down, roll down again with our legs straight up, or straight on the mat. We'll lower one vertebrae at a time down to the mat. Vertebra. So connect with the mat. And then bring our knees to our chest. Give them a little hug, maybe rock back and forth, give our lower back a little massage. And then send our arms out at shoulder height, palms facing down, and dropping our knees to the right. And slowly sending our gaze to our left fingertips. And then bringing our head back to center, gazing straight up, bringing our knees back to center, then lowering the knees to the left side. And when they've landed, you send your gaze to your right fingertips. And then slowly turning your head back to center again, lifting your legs back to center and extending them down to the bottom of the mat, preparing for Shavasana. Sending the heels to each edge of the mat, just relaxing your feet, relaxing your legs, relaxing your hips, your waist, relaxing your arms alongside so that they're out and palms are facing up. Shoulder blades are nice and snug in the mat, and then just relaxing that. Taking a deep breath, deep exhale. And placing a small smile on your lips. I'd like to continue a few excerpts from the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving Address. Greetings to the natural world. The four winds. We are thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help us to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now our minds are one. The medicinal herbs. Now we turn to all the medicinal herbs of the world. From the beginning, They were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal us. We are happy there are still among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines. Now our minds are one.